Welcome to Bible Ponderers. Today I would like us to ponder a prophecy that you would not wish to fulfill. And this prophecy is found in the Old Testament book of Psalms and comes from a time of King David, which was about 1000 BC. In Psalm 22 it says, "My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I may tell all my bones, they look and stare upon me. They part my garments among them, and cast lots upon my vesture." A question. Is this just a Christian interpretation of the Hebrew Scriptures by the King James Version translators, who perhaps wanted to say that this prophecy was about Christ's crucifixion? Well, in answer to this, we could say, let's take a look at the non-Christian translators of the Greek Septuagint, which was translated in about the 2nd century BC. They translated the Hebrew in a very similar way. And this is an English translation of the same passage from a Greek Septuagint. "My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue is glued to my throat. And thou hast brought me down to the dust of death. For many dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked doers has beset me round. They pierced my hands and my feet. They counted all my bones, and they observed and looked upon me. They parted my garments among themselves, and cast lots upon my raiment." Question. How likely is it that someone would intentionally seek to fulfill this prophecy? Answer. About as likely as someone would intentionally seek to be crucified. Question. How do you know this is a prophecy about someone being crucified? To answer this, I think we should consider how difficult it is to think of another appropriate historical scenario that would involve the following: extreme thirst. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws. Imminent death. Thou hast brought me into the dust of death. Enemies on every side. For dogs, used here as a term for savage people, have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. Enemies who pierce the hands and feet. They pierced my hands and my feet. Bones, for example, the ribs that stick out so that they can be counted. I may tell all my bones. And a sight to be stared at. They look and stare upon me. And the removal of clothing. They part my garments among them, and cast lots upon my vesture. Another question to ponder. Did Jesus Christ fulfill this prophecy? To answer this, let us take a look at what his biographers wrote concerning his crucifixion. First, concerning his extreme thirst. "My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaveth to my jaws." So what does it say in John's biography? "After this, Jesus on the cross saith, I thirst." Second, concerning his imminent death, Luke records this: "And there were also two other led with him to be put to death. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him." Third, concerning enemies on every side, in Luke and Matthew, we have the following: "The rulers also, standing by the cross, with them derided him. The soldiers also mocked him, They that passed by reviled him. The thieves also which were crucified with him cast the same in his teeth, or insulted him. Fourth, concerning the piercing of his hands and feet, well, it says they crucified him. And we know that crucifixion often included piercing with nails. And indeed, it says in John, Thomas speaking, except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails and put my finger into the print of the nails. Fifth, concerning him being stared at. In Luke it says, and the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him. And sixth, concerning the removal of his garments or clothing. In John it says, then the soldiers, when they had crucified Jesus, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also his coat. And seventh, concerning the casting of lots for his clothing, it says, now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore among themselves, let us not rend it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be. And also eighth, there are some words of relevance here earlier in Psalm 22, which say, and they that see me, all they that see me, laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip, they shake their head, saying, he trusted on the Lord that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. And his biographer Matthew says, and they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads and saying, he trusted in God. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. Question. But couldn't this prophecy be about some other person who was crucified? Answer. The Old Testament prophets did not write about random people. They were very heavily focused on the Messiah. Question. How do you know that Jesus' disciples didn't just pretend that he was crucified? Answer. Because if he had not been crucified, his enemies would have said so. Also, if the disciples were trying to start a new religion in the Roman Empire, publishing the fact that their God was crucified would not have seemed a good idea. Another question to ponder. What has this prophecy got to do with me? Answer. Nothing. It's to do with the Messiah. Question. What has the Messiah got to do with me? And that's probably the most important question, perhaps, in today's Bible Ponderers. Let's have a look what Jesus and Messiah said. In John chapter 10, verse 10. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. And that's something worth pondering. See you next time.